everybody, and welcome back to CNC RC Adventures. Today we're going to start a new Axial SCX24 build. This is a completely stock SCX24 Jeep. You can see it's just completely stock, no aftermarket parts whatsoever. And they actually run pretty good out of the box, just stock. But you know, you can always make them better, and I'm like a lot of people. I don't like to leave things alone. I want to build it and make it better, make it as good as I can, make it more capable, more fun to drive. I don't know exactly what the finished product's going to look like. I'm just going to kind of almost make it up as I go, I guess. Try out some different parts and different combinations of things, and we'll see where it goes. But one of the first things I'm going to do, not long ago, the people over at Furitek contacted me and said, hey, would you like to review some of our parts for your channel? So, of course, I said yes. Furitek makes great parts, and, of course, who wouldn't jump at the chance to review some of them? So they sent me a set of the Scythe carbon rails. So you get 2 rails, and you get 2 battery trays. This one's for a brushless motor. This one's for a brushed motor. These rails, these are the blue rails. I don't know if you can see it very well in the video, but it has actually a nice looking blue tint to it. It also comes in red. And it also comes with a small bag of nuts because the holes in the chassis are not threaded. So, you know, when you put a screw through, you'll need to put a nut on the other side to keep everything in place, and if it doesn't screw into something else. They also sent me their Stinger brushless motor kit. And that comes with the micro Komodo motor, comes with this nice looking aluminum and carbon fiber mount for the motor, transmission housing, whatever you want to call it. Comes with some motor screws that fit the motor. And it comes with one of their Lizard Pro speed controls. This speed control you can use if you have the version 1 electronics, which has got this black ESC and receiver. You can use that speed control along with this. If you have the newer ones that have the version 2 that has the blue speed control, unfortunately you cannot. You'll have to replace the radio and receiver. I run an aftermarket receiver on and transmitter on some of mine anyway. I run this Furitek radio, so I may end up, I'm going to try this with the stock radio first, but I may end up putting that Furitek radio in it too. I'm also going to run these J-Concept Tusk tires that we did in a previous video, a previous review. Just to, you know, I don't want the stock wheels and tires holding us back, seeing what this motor and chassis can do. So let's tear into this and start adding some parts. Before we do that, I'll just do like a little quick base run to see how it performs on our little indoor course here, and then we'll start tearing into it and replacing some parts and see how it does. Okay, so I didn't put the body back on since I'm just going to be taking it back off, but this is just a couple stock runs with everything completely stock, tires and everything. And one of the complaints a lot of people have with the SCX24 is it doesn't have a lot of low-end control. It's kind of, you can try to give it just a little bit of throttle. It gets kind of jerky. It's not really smooth. This Furitek Stinger system is really going to help with that. Get hung up on the The bumper getting hung up on that rock. Okay, so it runs pretty good out of the box. Of course, we can definitely make it a lot better. We're getting, you know, it gets hung up on things. These tires are pretty hard and not very grippy. Motor and speed control don't have a lot of low end control. And these motors don't have a lot of torque either. So when you start upgrading and putting on, you know, heavier wheels and tires, adding weight on the chassis, things like that, that motor quickly loses all its strength. So we're going to put this chassis and motor and speed control in it and see how it does. Okay, so I actually decided I'm going to change things up just a little bit. It runs well with the stock setup, and it runs so well that I'm actually kind of curious to see how it does with a more modified setup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out the axles, servo, probably links and stuff like that with this vehicle, which is it's got kind of your standard upgrades. It's got a new servo, it's got metal links, it's got weighted wheels, it's wider, bigger tires and stuff, obviously. So I feel like that a setup like this is going to really take advantage of the torque and the low end control that motor gives. So I think that's going to be actually a much better showcase of what that motor and chassis will do. So I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to swap the axles and links and stuff like that over to this other chassis, and then I'll be back and we'll see how it does. Okay, so we in between when I shot the last section and now I've been working on our indoor course, and I've still got a long ways to go, but I've got it sort of put together, got some terrain in here. So we're going to try this vehicle on the indoor course and just kind of see how it does. It's a combination of, you know, the kind of expanding foam rocks that a lot of people do and some real rocks. And I've got some steep sections, some sections that kind of work on the articulation, things like that. So, and I'm sure like everybody else, I'll change this course around several times before I'm completely happy with it. But it's a good starting point, so let's just see how it does. Okay, so let's try some really low speed stuff first, and then we'll go from there. So I'm just barely giving it any throttle right now. You can see, you know, how slow. I mean, it's just barely moving. Plenty of low speed control. And it'll just walk on up it. And it does have pretty good, you know, top speed. You know, if you need wheel spin or whatever. I mean, it's faster than you'll need for a course like this. So even on in a situation like this where it gets kind of bound up and big tires and a lot of weight added to it, this motor's got plenty of torque. Well, the driver is definitely the weak spot here. It's got plenty of torque to get it up and over these kind of obstacles, no problem. So even this kind of bound up in there, but you can just pull it straight through. Right here's another spot that vehicles tend to get hung up on. There's a hole, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, there's a pretty deep hole right here. A lot of vehicles kind of get hung up coming through here. See, it's got enough torque. I mean, the servo is not quite keeping up. I'll probably at some point upgrade to a stronger servo than this Emax. But the motor had plenty of torque to just pull it on through. And again, it's got plenty for high-speed stuff too if you need the wheel speed. Okay, so final thoughts on the Furitek Scythe carbon fiber chassis and the Stinger ESC and motor combination. I am super impressed with the throttle control and the torque that comes out of the motor. And to be honest, at such a small motor, I wasn't sure what to expect, but it really impressed me. I feel like that this is going to be the setup to go with. Some of the other bigger brushless motors may have just slightly more torque, but I think the problem with them is they sit up so high, it kind of affects your center of gravity. And when you have a nice low center of gravity chassis like this, it's nice to have a motor that sits low too and keep everything nice and low. The chassis itself went together really well, super strong, tons of shock mounting positions. So, like I said earlier in the video, I just kind of picked some and went with it, but I'm anxious to get into this and try some different shock mounting positions, might even try some different shocks, and just see what really works best, see what I can get out of this. I'm really impressed with this overall package. I think Furitek's got a real winner on their hands here. And I want to thank Furitek again for sending this over and letting me review it. If you liked what you saw here today, like and subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment below. And until then, see you next time.